Now let's begin with the second unit, that is structure of atom. The word atom is derived from a Greek word that is atomio, which means non-divisible. Okay, first of all, Dalton said that all matter are made up of small indivisible particles which are known as atoms. But afterwards, it was discovered that atom is divisible. It is further divided into fundamental particles, subatomic particles, electrons, protons and neutrons. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic representation of your atom. In the center, nucleus is there. Nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons, and the electrons revolve around the nucleus, and the electrons are negatively charged. Okay, now first of all we'll discuss the history part, that is how these subatomic particles or fundamental particles were discovered. Okay, and then we'll take various models for atom. Now first is discovery of electron. Electrons were discovered by Sir J.J. Thomson in discharge tube experiment. Okay, now this is discharge tube. Okay, and what is discharge tube? It is a hard glass tube. Okay, now it is fitted with two metallic electrodes. This is known as cathode, it is negatively charged. This is known as anode, it is positively charged. The tube is connected to a vacuum pump. Okay, and this tube is filled with some gas under study, and it is connected to a high voltage source. So this is my discharge tube. Okay, now gases are insulators at high pressure. Okay, but when the pressure is low and voltage is high, so at high voltage and low pressure, what will happen? The gases become conductors. Okay, so whatever gas is filled inside this discharge tube, it becomes conducting, and the electricity flow in the form of rays. Is this clear? So at low pressure and high voltage, okay, the electricity flow in the form of rays. These rays are emitted from cathode, that is negative terminal, and these rays move towards anode, that is positive terminal. Clear? And the rays are made up of particles. Since these rays are emitted from cathode, these were called as cathode rays. And since they move towards anode, that is positive terminal, it means these rays are made up of negative particles, and these negative particles were called as electrons. So this is how the electrons were discovered. Okay, now electron is the smallest known electrical charge having negative charge. Smallest known electrical charge with unit negative charge. Okay, so what is the charge on electron? It is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. And what is the mass of electron? It is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kilogram. Okay, electron is also referred to as unit negative charge. Okay, because it is the smallest known electrical charge. So this is how your electrons were discovered. Now, how protons were discovered? Protons were discovered by Goldstein in similar discharge tube experiment. Now, if atom is electrically neutral, okay, so now electrons are present inside the atom because electrons are discovered. So there must be some positive particles also present inside the atom. So these were also discovered in discharge tube experiment. And what Goldstein found that when cathode rays were emitted, now what he did, he took the similar discharge tube and he took a perforated cathode. Some perforations are there inside the cathode. Again, when the pressure was low and voltage was high, he found that just as cathode rays are emitted from cathode to anode, in the same way a new kind of rays are emitted from anode to cathode. Okay, and since these rays are emitted from anode, these are known as anode rays, and since they travel towards negative terminal, they are made up of positive particles, and these positive particles are known as protons. Okay, and protons are referred to as unit positive charge. Okay, what is the charge on proton? It is same as electron, that is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, but it is positive, and electrons have negative charge. And what is the mass of proton? It is 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27 kilogram. So this is how your protons are discovered. Okay, and the last fundamental particle, that is neutron, was discovered by Chadwick. Okay, so these neutrons contribute to the atomic mass. Okay, these are electrically neutral particles, they don't have any charge. And what is the mass? It is 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27 kilogram. So this is how your fundamental particles were discovered. Let's discuss various atomic models. Okay, now the first atomic model was proposed by Thomson, which is also known as plum pudding model or watermelon model, and he said that atom is spherical in shape, and the positive charge is uniformly distributed in the atom, means atom is made up of positive charge, and the electrons, negative electrons, are embedded into it, just like your black seeds are embedded in the watermelon. That's why this model is known as plum pudding model or watermelon model. However, this model was rejected because it did not give the distribution of electrons inside the atom, that how the, in case of multi-electron atoms, how different electrons are distributed. So this model was rejected, and the next came my Rutherford model of atom. Okay, now Rutherford model of atom is linked to a famous alpha particle scattering experiment, gold foil experiment. Okay, now this is the experimental setup. Now what is there? Now this is alpha particle source. So this is some radioactive substance. Now what are radioactive substances? Radioactive substances are those which continuously emit radiations. Okay, now this radioactive particle is emitting alpha rays, alpha particles. Okay, now this is a slit for getting a narrow beam of particles, and this is gold foil. Okay, in the center a very thin gold foil is there, and this gold foil is surrounded by a photographic plate which is coated with zinc sulfide. Okay, zinc sulfide is a fluorescent material. Okay, so whenever any particle strikes zinc sulfide screen, it produces a flash of light. Okay, so what happens now? This radioactive substance will emit alpha particles. These alpha particles, after passing through the slit, they are made to fall on this gold foil. Okay, now after striking the gold foil, the alpha particles are deflected at different angles. Okay, so you can see the spots are there. So when the alpha particles, after deflection through the gold foil, they strike this zinc sulfide screen, they produce a flash of light. Okay, so this is the alpha particle scattering experiment. Okay, now first of all, let's discuss what are alpha particles. Alpha particles are helium nuclei. Helium nuclei means they are positively charged. Helium has atomic number 2 and mass number 4. Okay, so if I remove 2 electrons from helium, so it will acquire He2+. Okay, so this is alpha particle, and these are emitted from a radioactive source. These were directed at very thin gold foil. And what was the thickness of gold foil? It is 100 nanometer. Very, very thin gold foil was there. When alpha particles strike the zinc sulfide screen, now what they do, they produce flashes of light. This we can see. So this was the experimental setup for your alpha particle scattering experiment. Now what are the observations? Okay, now observations are first, most of the alpha particles, that 99% of the alpha particles, passed undeflected. Okay, we can see maximum number of spots here. It means most of the space in an atom is empty, because alpha particles are deflected only when they strike something. If the alpha particle passes undeflected, it means it is not striking anything. So most of the space in an atom is empty. A very small fraction of alpha particles were deflected through small angles. Okay, they were deflected through small angles. Okay, now listen carefully. Since alpha particles are positively charged, and a positive charge can be deflected only if it is close to some another positive charge, because positive repulsion is there. Suppose positive charge passes close to a negative charge, then what will happen? Because of the attraction, the two will stick to each other. Since alpha particles are positive and they are deflected, means they are repelled by something. It means in the atom there is some heavy positive charge which he called it as nucleus. Okay, so in the center of atom, nucleus is there, and nucleus has positive charge. And since alpha particles also have positive charge, that's why they were deflected by this nucleus. A very few were deflected back, and deflected back means it is due to direct collision with the nucleus. So these were the observations which he got from his experiment. Okay, now see, this is how now these are the undeflected particles. Okay, now this is the nucleus. Okay, now this is head-on collision. So alpha particles which are direct colliding with this heavy nucleus, they are deflecting back. Now these are deflection through large angles, these are deflection through small angles. This is how the alpha particles were scattered. Okay, so what were the conclusions from Rutherford model? That in an atom, the entire mass and the positive charge is present at the center, which is called nucleus, and nucleus occupies very small space inside the atom. Okay, the negative electrons revolve around the nucleus at very high speed. Okay, and most of the space between nucleus and electron is empty, and he called it as planetary model. Okay, similar to our solar system, just as our planets revolve around the sun, in the same way the negative electrons revolve around the positive nucleus. And he also said that there is electrostatic force of attraction between electrons and nucleus. So this was Rutherford model of atom. But this model also failed because he also did not give the distribution of electrons in the atom, that how electrons are present inside the atom. And one more limitation was there, that if electrons and nucleus are held by electrostatic force of attraction, then why don't electrons fall into nucleus? Okay, and these limitations were then modified by Bohr's model.